Michael Harney, when are we going to get a flashback for your character Sam Healey on Orange is the New Black?
I don't know. I can't. I can't remember if we had any flashbacks, but you'll you'll see, man. You know, there somebody the other day, but I don't know when you'll see one. It was a good try though.
Orange is the New Black has a massive ensemble cast, but you're actually one of only three people who have been series regulars every season. So why do you think Healey is so vital to the show?
I don't know. I think that it's important to have uh, somebody that's an antagonist in ways, and somebody that is sort of a filter for a lot of the uh, dilemmas or the obstacles that transpire within the prison for the inmates. A foil. It's a there's a lot of different reasons. I don't usually think about it that way, because I lived through it. So it's kind of a question. That's the best answer I can come up with.
So you've been acting in film, television, stage for several decades now, mostly in guest and recurring roles. So what surprised you most about your greater workload on Orange is the New Black?
It was a joyous surprise. It's a. I feel really grateful. I feel really lucky. You know, I'm a journeyman. I've been doing it 37 years. So to be given an opportunity to be a regular on a show, that's a big deal for me. It's kind of like what you shoot for in terms of the business sense, and then my focus has always been on art. So to have great writers and to be able to show up and really do art, that's a huge win. So, like I said, I feel really lucky. I feel really privileged to to be part of it.
And do you have a past favorite role that you've done in film or television?
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I did NYPD Blue many years ago, uh, Detective Roberts. That was a long time ago, but the writing was so good, and I was just out of the hothouse training period that and I'd done so many plays off Broadway. Probably did close to 100 plays for no money, in New York, and trained. Uh, so when I got NYPD Blue, there was a purity of that I approached it with, and I didn't know anything about uh, television or film really, other than doing some student films in New York. I used to go to the colleges and sign up for their film classes to be an actor in their film classes so that I could get used to working in front of the camera. I did that for a couple of years, and uh, I remember when I did NYPD Blue, I had this scene. It was an interrogation scene, and they just let me go. They just said, "Look, man, we're just going to let you go. So we're going to set up the camera, and you just go." And I wound up punching my fist through a window. I just think I was full of piss and vinegar, and I didn't have the. I was so green. There was a purity of work that I had experienced that I brought to that and a naivete that I had. That anyway, I put my fist through the window, and all the Teamsters are standing around like, "Oh man, I can't believe this guy just did that." And I went over to Dennis Franz and I said, "Hey man, what's going on?" He said, "Well, you may want to tell somebody before you put your fist through a window the next time." And then he told me, he said, "I'm not going to do any rooftop scenes with you. I'll tell you that right now." So good story.
Yeah. Okay, so you were a recurring character in the final season of Weeds, which was also by Jenji Cohen, who did Orange is the New Black. So how did you transition from that role? Did you have to audition still, or did she just call you?
She just called me, which I thought was just really cool of her to do that. Uh, And that doesn't happen all the time. I'm used to reading for stuff. I'm used to always going in to read, and actually, I consider that like an opportunity to work. When I read for stuff or look at stuff, but you always prefer it when they don't ask you to come in and read. It's kind of the bane of our existence is auditions. So it was really a gift, that she gave me. That she said, "We'd like you to do this," and of course I jumped at it.
So how do you think Healy got into his line of work as a prison counselor?
I think people have altruistic reasons why they do things. You know, in helping professions that I feel are very solid and very good, very pure. And then they get met with all of the limitations and the obstacles that their career path has in it, inherently in it. And so those pure motives, those pure things that that drive them initially become watered down, and they have to try to get their agendas done within the framework of their career path, both with their fellow employees, with the people that they're in Healy's case, the inmates, with the administration. So it's really a pretty complex question. It's a good question.
And what kind of research did you do for the role of Healy?
When I was very young, I worked as a volunteer for the Fortune Society and the United Church of Christ. I worked with inmates in Ossining State Penitentiary, which is a maximum security prison up in upstate New York. But for this particular role, it was a lot of visual watching footage. And then there was a lot of just work of the imagination, putting myself in these circumstances and creating relationships and doing the work that I learned how to do.
How would you say your character has changed most over the first couple seasons that we've seen?
There's a heightening of tension and, finding myself in circumstances that are much harder to process. That same purity of intention, that maybe I had when I came into work as a counselor in the joint, is harder and harder to achieve sometimes, because of both personal problems and on the job problems. So I think that the stress and the anxiety is heightened for me in that regard.
So Gold Derby is an Emmys website, so who are you rooting for most of your casting crew at the Emmys this year?
We're an ensemble cast, and it's very, very clear. Yeah, I just did a movie, it's an ensemble cast. And I've always felt that way. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine that any type of work, any type of project that you do is, it takes everybody, especially the crew, So who am I rooting for? I'm rooting for everybody.
And what was that movie you just did?
Bad Hurt, which should be opening fairly soon. We premiered at Tribeca, and we're going to be at the Berkshire Film Festival, and I think a couple in Europe, and then I think they'll open in theaters here. But it's a good film. It's a film about special needs kids and their parents.
Thank you, Michael. We look forward to seeing the third season of Orange is the New Black in the next couple weeks, and best of luck at the Emmys.
Thanks an awful lot, man. Nice to meet you.